Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are taking an incredibly intense day of global events and figuring out exactly how they all connect. We're zeroing in on Friday, July 10th, 2026, a day where ripples from the Middle East crash directly into your wallet, your screens, and, yep, even your thermostat.
So what actually happens when a global conflict, extreme weather, and a massive market boom all collide on the exact same day? Let's dive right in. We really need to understand how a geopolitical crisis happening halfway across the globe can immediately impact AI manufacturing, global markets, and seriously, even the stuff you're streaming in your living room.
Section 1. The Epicenter. U.S.-Iran Escalation. We're starting with the absolutely rapid escalation that kicked off following Ayatollah Khamenei's overnight burial at the Imam Reza Shrine in Mashhad. The sheer pace of what went down here is staggering. Right after that overnight burial, Iranian state media reported unconfirmed U.S. strikes near a nuclear plant in Bushehr. And then, by the afternoon, Iran had already launched 10 ballistic missiles that breached Jordanian airspace, triggering air raid sirens before they were ultimately intercepted.
Naturally, the diplomatic fallout is moving just as fast. Iran has officially launched a complaint with the UN Security Council, boldly labeling the strikes a war crime. But, behind the scenes, it is an absolute scramble. Negotiators, with Iraq actually stepping up to try and mediate, are desperately meeting in the background to prevent a much wider conflict.
And those foreign shockwaves, they are immediately creating ripples for us back home. On the security front, Israel shared intelligence warning of an Iranian assassination plot against former President Trump. Over in Congress, the 21st Century Road to Housing Act automatically became law at midnight after Trump declined to either sign or veto it. And for the average consumer out there, this geopolitical tension is keeping bond yields high, which leaves 30-year mortgage rates painfully stuck near year highs at 6.49%.
Section 2. The Shockwaves, Supply Chains and Tech Markets.
Okay, so how exactly does an international crisis squeeze the tech sector? Well, it's basically a massive domino effect. Step 1, the conflict in the Middle East causes shipping traffic in the Strait of Hormuz to just drop sharply. Step 2, in a rapidly tightening supply chain, China makes a major move and blocks exports of helium. Step 3, because helium is a critical, absolute must-have input, this immediately strangles the production of AI semiconductor chips, which puts the massive global AI infrastructure build-out at immediate risk.
But here is the really fascinating paradox. Despite those massive supply chain chokes, AI chip makers are seeing unprecedented booms. SK Hynix just pulled off a record-shattering $26.5 billion US IPO, and Micron is boosting its US investment to $250 billion. Meanwhile, the very platforms we use to escape reality, they're struggling. Netflix is sliding 22% this year due to weakening subscriber engagement. It's actually pushing them so hard that they're exploring live TV just to try and keep our eyes on the screen.
And get this, the energy markets are totally defying expectations right now, too. Even with the Middle East conflict pushing Brent crude up to $76.47 a barrel, the International Energy Agency is projecting something huge. They're forecasting the first annual global oil demand decline since the 2020 pandemic. Broader economic headwinds are actually outweighing the wartime supply fears.
Section 3. The Domestic Reality. Unprecedented U.S. extreme heat.
While the geopolitical climate heats up globally, the literal climate is breaking records domestically. A massive, sprawling heat dome is currently baking 2/3 of the contiguous United States. The National Weather Service is sounding the alarm. Over 90 local temperature records could be tied or broken by Wednesday. We're talking temperatures soaring 15 to 25 degrees above normal across the Rockies, the Plains, and the Midwest.
But honestly, the real danger isn't just those daytime highs, it's the total lack of nighttime relief. The Gulf Coast is facing some truly unprecedented conditions. Major cities, Miami, Tampa, Galveston, Charleston, they won't see temperatures drop below 80 degrees overnight. When you factor in the humidity, we're staring down dangerous heat indices of up to 115 degrees.
Section 4. Sports, Streaming, and Escapism. The World Cup Distraction.
So, with all of this global tension, the supply chain anxiety, and just dangerous domestic weather bearing down on us, the world is quite predictably turning to screens for a much-needed escape. And the 2026 World Cup is absolutely delivering. France just knocked out Morocco 2-0, with Kylian Mbappé scoring his 8th goal of the tournament. Meanwhile, Spain and Belgium are locked in this incredibly tense 1-1 tie at halftime right now in LA. All this drama is driving absolute record-breaking viewership for Fox and Telemundo.
And hey, if you're on watching sports, streaming platforms like Apple TV+, Netflix, and HBO just completely dominated this year's Emmy nominations, leaving traditional broadcast networks with their lowest totals in history.
All right, so after parsing through all these intense, highly interconnected events of July 10th, 2026, we are left with a massive question. As supply chains fracture, as AI demands more power, and as the heat literally rises across the country, in a world divided by conflict and extreme climate, how will our technology and entertainment adapt to our changing reality? Because honestly, that is the question we all need to be paying very close attention to next.